Hey gang, this is John Newton, Snap-on John 100, and today what I'm going to do is just make an ember outside. It's last time I checked it was 8 degrees. I'll check it again right before I come out. It's minus 15 with the wind chill, and last time I was trying to videotape when it was this cold, my camera was shut down and I lost most of my video. So I'm going to have to prepare this inside, and then I'm going to put the wood outside so it's gets down to that temperature. Then I'll come out and make an ember. I'm going to be using the deluxe model bearing block. It is the one with the it's made on a CNC machine. It's made out of aluminum, and it has a thrust bearing underneath this regular radial bearing, radial roller bearing. The reason why is because this bearing does not like forces which are axial forces pressing in on it. It's designed to have radial forces, which would be at from this angle. So when you use it for this purpose, you're bearing down on it and pressing, giving it an axial force. So there's a thrust bearing underneath there, which is designed for that type of force. So this makes this pretty much indestructible. Yes, I am still selling these. The fundraiser's over, so now they're more expensive to get. So this model right here is $28, and $6 for shipping up to 10 pieces in container. Okay, so it's either 1 to 10 pieces for $6 shipping anywhere in the United States. The other model is the standard one that has a stainless insert pressed into the same aluminum body, and it is $15. Shipping will be the same, so, and you can mix and match whatever. Shipping doesn't matter because however many I can stick in there, and right now it's about 10, so anything from 10 below is $6. The way, because I don't have a store yet, I'm working on a website, but I don't have one up yet, so still going to have to order it like you did before when I was just doing it as a fundraiser, and that is contact me through my email, which is jrnewton, N-E-W-T-O-N. That's J-R-N-E-W-T-O-N 56 at Rochester, ROCHESTER.RR.com. Okay, I'll put a note at the bottom of this video, but you got to contact me and let me know how many of them you want with your full name and address, mailing address. I can ship these anywhere I want, like overseas and stuff. The shipping obviously is going to be different, but for continental, I just mentioned what it would be for continental United States. Actually, it would be the same for Hawaii and Alaska too. But contact me with your full shipping your full name and shipping address, and what models you want and how many of each one, and then I will shoot back to you with a price. And then I accept PayPal, so what you can do then is just go into your PayPal account and click on send money, and then it will give you an opportunity to put in somebody's email address. Put my email address I just gave you in there, and then I think you click on goods and services, and then I pay the fee instead of you paying it. So it's still available, and so I'm going to use this one to try to create an ember at below real frigid conditions. The wind chill would not make any difference, but it's blowing so hard though that will make a difference in creating the ember. But it's about 5 degrees I think right now. Like I said before, I'll give you an update on it. It was so cold, that's why I'm home. It was so cold we lost our power for a half an hour, and within 10 minutes one of the toilets stopped functioning, and I had to go downstairs and thaw out a pipe that actually had frozen. Didn't burst or anything, but it had just clogged up enough that it was a supply to the one of the downstairs toilets, and so I had to thaw that out. And then our power came back on, then everything was fine. But like just in that little tiny amount of time that the furnace was off, it was that frigid this morning, and that's why I'm here and just doing all my videos inside. So I've got my wood and spindle prepped already. I'm going to create the notch and stuff. I'll do that on camera, but I'm doing that inside so that I actually can videotape it. And then I'm going to take this wood and put it outside for a while, and then I'll come back out. I'll come outside, and since it'll be the temperature of outside, it'll be the same thing as me starting the whole thing. Because I could do this, or I think I can do this, you know, whatever temperature, but it's recording it is my problem. So I'm going to have to do it this way, just so I don't lose that video. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to start creating the notch here. I'll try to do that on camera for you, and then we'll go outside and do the rest. Okay, I started with a, as you can see, a little dimple. I put one over here, and it is a width and a half in from the edge. So if you take the thickness of this spindle and then half again thickness, so it's 1.5 thicknesses, that's where I put my little dimple to start. Then I drill on it with my knife. The knife I used, I'm going to show you everything. I used the Survive Knives GSO5 to actually drill this hole. Then I seated the spindle, and now I'm ready to carve out the notch. So for that part, I like to use a saw, either on a Swiss Army knife or on something like a multi-tool. So I just have to have, I happen to have a Leatherman wave here. It's got a nice saw on it. And this also locks. That's one feature I like about the Leatherman. And so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to start dead center of this blackened spot to make my cut. What I do is I use a saw to get down to where I want to go, and then I take a knife and finish it out the notch. So let's see if I can do this all on camera so you can see it. I'm going to have to do this on my leg. Let's bring this camera. Alright. Okay, so I'm just going to carefully... the other reason why I use a saw is because it's controlled, and I definitely would not be cutting on my leg if I had a knife blade, but with this, I can control it better. So I'm just cutting it. I'm using basswood, which is my favorite. And this is a piece that's dry. I had this processed. It's probably been processed for a couple of months, actually. I just happened to think of trying this because it was so cold today. I just wondered how hard it would be to make an ember. So now I've gone not quite to the center with my notch, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a blade out and finish that off. So that's what I use the saw for, is the initial cut, and then I just use any, what I like to use is a blade with a thinner, that's got a thinner blade, because it makes it easier to get in and work this tight, into these tight tolerances. What I'm going to be using is a Kershaw that I got for Christmas. Okay, so right now I'm creating the chamfered front edge, which allows more air into the ember. Just carefully changing hands so you're not ever cutting towards your hand. Okay. And then try to expand on this notch. This wood's kind of pithy, so I haven't ever tried making an ember with this piece of this particular wood, or this actually piece, I mean. So hopefully it's not. If it's too pithy, what happens is your drill just drills right through it, and you never get an ember because it basically destroys itself before it heats up. And it's kind of acting that way while I'm cutting it, that it's pithy. And the notch I'm making is more, most of my notches are U-shaped rather than pie-shaped. The important thing is you want to get enough space in between so that you need the dust to easily fall through there, so you want the sides really smooth. And also the other critical thing is if it's too narrow, it starts filling up in here before it gets down in there, and it actually suffocates itself. So if you're getting lots of smoke, so it looks like you've got an ember going, and then when you pull everything away, it just kind of goes out, that's what happened. The notch needs to be bigger. So you always watch that, because you don't want to start out with a huge notch, because if it breaks out, then your spindle will fall out. So you gotta it's better to start with a little bit smaller and then make it bigger if it doesn't happen to work. But I found about 1/8 of an inch is good. Okay, so now I'm just going to finish chamfering the front, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Trying to explain this as I'm cutting, but forgive me for sometimes I get quiet because I'm focused on what I'm doing to keep from cutting myself. Okay, kind of an ugly looking notch, but that should be wide enough. The other thing too is this black spot's going to be a lot bigger, and so it looks like it's a little bit too far away from the edge. If you're worried about that, you can come along the front and cut off some of this carefully, like this, and like this here. You see what I'm doing here? You gotta be really controlled, because at this stage you've got a notch you can tear up. So sometimes if you think it's going to be too far, it's better to slice this first. Okay. So I was able to bring it down a little bit. So that's not an issue here. Distance here, you can always shave off some. So now we're ready to create our ember. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is my, call it a welcome mat, but it's a piece of leather into my belt actually, and I just put a key ring in it, and I use this to have the ember form on, and then I can use it to transport it. And the other thing is too that's nice about the leather, it insulates this from the cold ground or any other cold surface. Like you see a lot of guys putting it on a knife blade. If the knife is really cold, that will also tend to suck heat out of your ember. So I like to use something like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put that stuff outside, and we'll put that outside, and then we'll let it get cold, and then I'll come back, let you know what the temperature is, and then we'll go from there. Stay with me. Okay, I'll try to get it so we can see the best. That looks pretty good. the temperature's gotten up to 6 degrees, but the wind is 45 mile an hour wind gusts. So I apologize ahead of time for all this wind noise, but there's nothing I can do about it. Plus, it's part of the task. So, like I said before, I'm going to be using the deluxe bearing block with the stainless, or with the bearing in it, and just to see how hard it is to get an ember in frigid conditions. With friction. I've never tried this, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. We got a lot of smoke. I'm going to have to cup this. You can probably see all the smoke coming off of it. There you go. Not bad. Well, I have successfully created an ember. It's temperature is 6 degrees and wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. I didn't feel any of those giant gusts, but it was very windy. As I saw, the smoke was like just blowing away like crazy. But I got an ember with literally no trouble at all. However, I wouldn't really want to be running around trying to find the wood and make the whole set, and you know, with my freezing hands. But it's doable. Well, that was a fun little experiment. I didn't have any trouble at all really getting an ember. I have never tried friction fire when it's this cold, but I've done it at almost this cold. But this was major conditions of 45 mile an hour wind gusts and 6 degree temperatures. This is John Newton from Snap-on John 100. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I covet your comments. And as always, God bless.